Game week 4 is going to be a really busy game week for me. I've got 2 free transfers at my disposal and £1 million banked. I'll start by discussing the players in my team, then I'll move on to the potential transfers. First up is the combination of Ward and Iverson. They've not done too well at this point, and I don't expect them to do too well going forward either. They've got difficult fixtures. I'd prefer to have Sanchez, but I'm really struggling to find the 0.5 mil. It would cost me a hit, and you'll see why later on in the transfer section. I'm hoping the free transfer and £500,000 invested in an outfield position gains me more points. To be fair, those positions are more volatile in points than the goalkeeper position. Another thing to consider is the 4-point save from a hit is technically a clean sheet head start from Ward. And that's even better than what it sounds. The points per million are very important in the goalkeeper position. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I would rather have Sanchez over Iverson in my team, but it's very difficult from a position. Moving on to the defence, Alexander-Arnold has been very underwhelming this season, but he has got Bournemouth at home next, so he's staying in the team. The strange thing is, people on Twitter aren't really bothered if Trent blanks because he's one of the most owned players in the game, but if Ward blanks, people flip the lid. He's actually the cheapest goalkeeper in the game that's playing, and Trent is the most expensive defender. That money could have been spread elsewhere, you know. Next up is James. I know Chelsea haven't been that good recently, but let's not fall for the recency bias. Chelsea still have a decent defence, he's still good going forward. Yeah, he could slot into that centre-back position sometimes, but he can continue to play at the right wing-back position. I think for 6 mil, they've got decent fixtures, he's still good value for money. The last starting defender is Diaz. He's a solid income of points. The only thing is, I really hope he doesn't get hit by Pep Roulette. Moving on to the midfield, Andreas is a placeholder at the minute. I've got 4 budget options, one of them needs upgrading, and it's probably going to have to be him that's sacrificed because I'm hoping to bring in a midfielder. You'll see later on in the video that his next 4 fixtures aren't favourable, but as for the player that I'm considering bringing in, his next 4 fixtures are the best in the league. Salah was my captain in game week 3, which was successful. I've had 3 out of 3 picks so far. Let's see if I can make it 4. If you want to see who my captain is for game week 4, I've published a best captain video with all my data analysis. Salah still ranks high in my captaincy matrix, which means he's going nowhere. Another player that's here to stay is Martinelli. Like I always say every game week, he's one of the most valuable players in the game. If you don't already own him, cut your losses and get him in. Luis Diaz is probably the best £8 million midfield option at the minute, and he remains in my side until Núñez and Jota are back. And to complete the midfield is Saka. He's had a poor start to the season. I've had to ride the wave and take the price drop, but to be fair, I still think he's a decent option going forward. We know what he's capable of. He's still probably on penalties. He's just not as good of an option as Martinelli is. Remember, we've always got to look forward, not backwards. Back the favourable fixture, and it is only a small sample size that we've had this season. Up front is Haaland. I never thought I'd say this, but he's actually a player that I'm considering selling, and I'll explain why in a moment. As for Jesus, he's the most owned player in the game for a reason. He's very underpriced and he's got Fulham at home next. Moving on to the transfers, the colours are based on my attack fixture difficulty ratings, which are published every game week on Twitter. That's for all 20 teams, and I do it for the defences as well. For the next 4 fixtures, I'd much rather have Gross in my team than Andreas. I'm not saying it'll continue, but he's been gaining decent positions so far this season, and he's scored a couple of goals as well. He's also registered in an assist. I expect that to continue because he's the main man on indirect free kicks and corners. He appears to be second in line for penalty duties at Brighton. McAllister took the last one, but if he's not on the pitch, it should be Gross that's taking them. He's got a decent upside and it's a low risk for that price tag. I have 1 mil in the bank and I need to free up 0.2 mil to fund this transfer. That's the minor reason why I'm considering Haaland to Kane. The main reason that I'm considering this transfer is because Pep himself came out and said that if City have fixtures every 3 days, Haaland will miss out the odd game and it will be Alvarez that plays instead. Haaland did feature in a friendly a couple of days ago against Barcelona, but that doesn't concern me too much because he didn't play for too many minutes. However, City have 3 fixtures within the space of a week, and when they had 2 fixtures within the space of a week, Haaland was still missing minutes. Depending on when he's benched and dragged off, he could miss out on a full match compared to Kane over the next 3 fixtures. I don't know about you, but I typically back a double game week player, and I think the expected minutes are crucial. The original plan was to keep Haaland in my team against Forest at the Etihad because he was at the top of my captaincy matrix, but that's the middle fixture, and he'll probably miss the minutes in that one if anything. The plan was always to bring Kane in for the Fulham at home fixture because he ranked at the top of my captaincy matrix for that one. I know Kane's start hasn't been as good as Haaland's, but he'll probably play a full match next against the easiest defence in the league. I'm hoping to get a decent head start over the next block of fixtures. Obviously that's if I do make these transfers. My final team reveal will be posted on Twitter. Thanks for watching, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already so you don't miss any of these videos.